So I was first asked to come and do this TED Talk by my teacher, Mr. Thompson, and my principal, Mr. Kamira, and I had absolutely no idea what to talk about. And so I just started thinking to myself, I'm in a whole bunch of different leadership programs, I have to be able to come up with something, right? And so I started thinking, and I thought about all the big, canopy topics that they've been teaching me for the past couple years. And then I was like, no, I don't really want to talk about that. And then I started thinking about about something that I have taken pretty deeply personally and learned through just the things that my teachers have done and what we've done as a leadership class and as a whole. And then so what I want to share with you guys is something I've learned, and that's when you help others, you yourself gain a lot when other people succeed. And that in life, you're going to have a lot of problems and a lot of challenges, and you're going to have to step up, and you're going to have to overcome these. And a lot of time you're not going to be able to do it by yourself, and you're going to have to use the help of others to do this. So the first example I want to talk about is something I first did when I was in grade 9 in my outdoor leadership class, and that was called the tarp challenge. The idea is you have a group of people, and you have to stand on top of a tarp, and then you have to flip that tarp without touching the ground. And so as you can see, all these people are trying to find a way to flip this tarp. People come up with these crazy ideas like grabbing two corners and flipping them over. And then people are falling off and people are getting angry at each other and getting super frustrated. I have never done this by myself with just one group. I've never seen anyone else do it. And then after doing this for the first couple times, I never really took anything away from it. I just thought it was a frustrating game, frustrating challenge that would never be able to be completed. And then so you started getting angry and frustrated because you couldn't do it by yourself or with the group of people you had. And then last year, my leadership teachers took our class out into the cafeteria in our school. And this time we had 2 tarps out, and they said, there's not enough of you to go on one tarp, so we're going to have to put you on 2 tarps. And then, okay. So the 2 groups went on the tarps. And when they said go, everyone started to assume it was a competition, so people started working faster and harder, and people started getting even more frustrated because they couldn't do it, and more people were falling off. And then one of my teachers just said, what are you guys trying to win? Why are you competing against each other? And then when they said that, it just kind of clicked in all of our minds, and then we realized that in order to flip the tarp, we would have to work together and use the people in the 2 different tarps. So then everyone would go onto one tarp and they'd flip the other, and then they'd go into the flip tarp and flip the other. And we realized that in order to flip the tarp, you couldn't do it by yourself. You had to work with the people that were around you in order to complete it. And it made it 100 times easier and a lot faster. Nobody fell off and nobody was getting angry at each other. It was simple because you had people there to support you and help you. And so that brings me into my next story. Last fall, once again, my teacher, Mr. Thompson, organized this trip that we like to call Expedition Eliza. And the idea behind it was that a group of people from our school would take this girl named Eliza up this hike at Moraine Lake. And Eliza, unfortunately, was born with a condition, and she lives her life in a wheelchair. And so she couldn't do it anymore. Her dad used to carry her up on these hikes when she was small, but she got bigger and she wasn't able to do it. So Mr. Thompson organized us, and we all woke up early on a Saturday morning. We weren't very happy. We were all tired and grumpy. But we got out there and we got to the hike, and Eliza came out in her off-road wheelchair, which you can see there. And we just started going. Nobody really understood the meaning of it. We just thought we were going on a hike and we're bringing her with her. And it was fun and all. And it was pretty easy to start. It was a pretty wide trail. And then things started getting a little more complicated, a little more rough. There were roots and boulders, and we started getting to the actual hard part of the hike where there was switchbacks, and it was hard. We couldn't just push her anymore. We had to find a way to get her over these problems or these obstacles. In order to do that, we had to come together, and we had to find a way to carry her over these. And so that worked, but then eventually the people who were carrying her started to get tired, and they couldn't do it anymore, and we didn't want to drop her down this mountain. So eventually we had to get people rotating out, and we developed this system where people would just go in, take turns, and they'd do their part. And the whole time, not a single person complained. Nobody said, oh, I'm thirsty, or oh, my legs hurt, I want to go home, I don't like this, the weather's cold. Nobody complained because we all started to focus on one goal, and that was just to get to the top with Eliza to give this experience to her, which she wouldn't be able to experience otherwise. And then in doing this, we all just came together, and everyone realized that it's not about individual success, or it's not about doing something great for yourself, for your own personal accomplishment. You kind of start to sacrifice your own self for the greater good of everyone, and then in doing that, you're able to accomplish something pretty great. And then so in this next picture here, you can see us carrying her. There's other people are graduating now, but they're carrying over. There's bridges, and again, there's rocks. There's all sorts of things. But when we got to the top, everyone's there, and we're like, oh, finally, we're there. You know, Eliza can see this. And then Eliza said something, and she said she wanted to walk the last little way by herself with her dad's help. And then, so that's a picture of her. You could say she was knocked down by life, and for the first time, I can literally say I saw someone actually get back up to their feet when they were never able to do that before. And then so her dad helped her out of her wheelchair, and she started walking. And it was just so amazing because it wasn't anyone else who was benefiting necessarily from her walking, but the smile on her face, everyone knew that smile and that joy was because of us and the people who had helped her get up there. And then, so that's kind of brings me back to the point where when you help others succeed, you yourself succeed. Because you know that when you help someone achieve something that they've wanted to do and something they're super passionate about, you just feel good. It's hard to explain because it's just, you know that you were the person that helped them to get where they wanted to. And then so here is a picture of what she saw. She never would have been able to see this if it weren't for the group of 20-some high school students that gave up their Saturday to help bring her up here. And then she wouldn't have been able to see that either. That was a problem for her, is she was bound to communities and sidewalks and the school, and she hadn't been able to experience this in a long time. And so that's another pretty amazing thing she saw. And then this is the group of people that was there. Most of these people I didn't know until the day of. People from all different social groups in our school came together to do this. You can see there's a whole bunch of crazy people there. But no, it was amazing because all these people who didn't know each other, all these people who didn't talk to each other, I didn't even know half of those people's names, were able to come together and able to work without argument or discussion. We just knew what to do with each other because we were all working for the same thing. And then Eliza said something at the end of the day that I don't think I'm ever going to forget. She thanked us and she said, "You guys made me feel like a normal teenager today." And then that was the point, I think, when everyone realized the true meaning of what we did for her. See, her problem or her obstacle or challenge every single day is the condition she was born with. See, we really take that for granted. We don't realize that some people have so many different problems that they have to overcome. But with Eliza, she's a little different because she needs the help of others to overcome her problems. And she knows this, but she gets this. And I've never seen her in a day without a huge smile on her face. She has all the right in the world to be upset and angry and mad at life, but she's not because she has people helping her to achieve her goals and overcome her problem. And to me, that's just beautiful because you can work together to help someone so much, and then they're so grateful. And once again, that just helps you succeed because you know that you helped them do something that they wouldn't be able to do. And then, so that's kind of the end of my story, but if there's anything you guys take away from what I said today, I hope it's that you understand that a lot of the time in life you can get knocked down, you can get beat up, you're not going to want to get back up, but you know you have to. You know you have to overcome the problem you have. And a lot of time you're not going to be able to do that by yourself, so you need the help of others. And you need to understand that's okay. Like, coming together as a team with a group of people is just fine. In fact, I think when you come together with a group of people, bigger and better things happen than when you just work by yourself. And then also, I want you to know, once again, that when you help others achieve their goals, and when you help others succeed, you yourself grow a lot as a person, and you have a lot. And then a lot of people say that when there's a will, there's a way. I like to think that when there's a willing friend and a willing group of people who come together, there's a way to do anything you wish. Thank you very much.